Yeah.
Should be the latest post. You may have to refresh. And we might be ready to start. We are starting right now. We are now starting. Hey, we're live.
Yay!
Yay! You found something. Good evening. This is night 3 of the Disc Jockey News Virtual Expo. And we're here. Yay!
Yay.
We're missing one. Now, Jake Palmer is to be, he will be to the, let's see, as you're looking at it, he would be on Jeremy Brech's right, it'd be left of us. Jake will hopefully be joining us at some point in time because he had to switch from his tablet to his phone to a computer. So, gentlemen, I'd like to have you each introduce yourself, and when Jake's going to get here, we're going to make up some weird kind of initiation thing, so that'll be fun. But tell everyone, name, company name, where you're from, and like we did the other night, when you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up? Jeremy, take it away.
All right, so my name is Jeremy Brech, DJ Jer, as a lot of people know me across the industry, and I'm up in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, where we're starting to get snow. Not too thrilled about that. I'm the owner and creative behind DJ Jer Events and Lighting Design. And what did I want to be when I grew up? I wanted to be a baseball player when I grew up.
Cool.
And that didn't happen. So that's what I'm doing.
So instead, we're DJs. Yay! Michael.
I actually thought about that question when I heard it on the first night. My name is Michael Joseph. I'm a DJ. I am also the host of the Rewind Report right here on Disc Jockey News, a weekly news show. In case you haven't checked it out, you got to check it out. A lot of cool stuff. I've been DJing a long time. I love the industry that I'm in, but when I was a kid, I wanted to be a superhero.
Nice.
Forget about a job. I just wanted to be a superhero. But
you are.
I couldn't find a paying superhero job. Most of it was volunteer work.
It just didn't work. Didn't work out.
I had my little utility belt all set up.
I'm texting Jake. Call us via Skype. There we go. Okay, tonight we're going to be talking about, well, the last 2 nights, initially we were going to be talking just marketing last night, and it became a bridal show marketing, and we were going to talk weddings on Sunday night, which it was, but we talked about bridal shows and weddings. Tonight we're going to step away from bridal shows. that was 2 great nights of it, and there's a lot. If you haven't seen those, you got to find those videos from the pre-show night 1 and 2. There's some great stuff there. Tonight we want to talk about events outside of weddings. Now, they may still have some relation to weddings, but basically money-making ways that DJs can make some extra cash outside of performing as a DJ for a wedding. And I think both of you have had a lot of experience with that, and as Jake has, trying. Technology hates me tonight. So Jake obviously isn't getting paid for his technology side of things. That's his way of making money as a DJ. Hey, we got some guys online. Jeremy and Michael, I don't know if you guys are checking it out, but if you're watching us on DJN Virtual Expo, the website, if you click down under, let's see, it'd be under Michael, right below Michael, there's a little YouTube icon. You click on that, and it'll take you to the YouTube page. Once you're there, you will be able to see a chat. There's a chat that's off to, let's see, it's over there. Way over there. That's a chat. You can go there, you can ask questions, you can make some comments. Sometimes the questions get to us and we actually answer them. And last night some of the questions were answered before we had a chance to get to them. So it was a great night. Good stuff. So glad to see some people make it back and such for another great night of chat. Yay!
Definitely got to say hi to Michael Chilston. He was on the first night, and I actually was riding mountain bikes with him today. You guys were talking about snow. We had 70 degrees today, so we went out for a ride.
Okay, so where's the muting of his microphone for the rest of the night?
Yeah.
If it's any consolation, the low tomorrow night's going to be 28. So
no, I think as I was walking out, it's like 18 degrees outside.
Wow,
it's just crazy. So let's start off. Let's start off with we'll kind of go through make kind of a little laundry list of different things that you guys have done, and then we'll maybe look at each one individually over the next half hour, 45 minutes, what have you. But let's if somebody was going to how do you make money as a DJ beyond being a wedding performer? what are some of the things that you have done or you've seen people do? And let's kind of go from there. Michael, why don't we start? You've had a few unique things. Let's start with what you've done.
Yeah, I primarily try to stay away from weddings. I do about 2 a year, and I try to keep them like little events. If I do them, I try to be really picky about what I do as a DJ because, like I said, I really love what I do. So I don't want to I don't want to have the mindset of doing it just for money. So I try to get out and be a part of a lot of different events. And I think I do 2 events, well, 2 different sides of things that in the DJing stuff that I do, that I feel would be unique to most people. But to me, it's just a normal part of my life. One, I got tied in with a local car audio company and do a lot of car shows, DJing at like the World of Wheels or the Pittsburgh International Auto Show I do each year, plus car cruises throughout the year. So that's kind of a unique spot being with all those sorts of things. The Vinny's Grand Prix, all the different things like that, I get the DJ. And the other one is because of the mountain bike and bicycling stuff that I do, I got tied in with a local bike park around here, and I do some of the bike events. So that's the other side of it that are completely clubs, away from parties, that I think is unique, and I'm glad that I was able to branch out and get to be a part of stuff like this.
Cool. We'll get back to some of those. I'm making notes so I can ask questions later. Jeremy, what are some of the things that you have done over the years and such beyond being that wedding performer?
Yeah, absolutely. We really got deep into the lighting design aspects of things, and I don't want to say large production, but smaller production. It's allowed us to work with a lot of corporate clients, a lot of fundraisers, and that's been a really big thing for us. There's a lot of outdoor events that we've had the opportunity to work with, indoor events, and it's not just about music as DJs, but again, it comes down to creating events with corporate clients, with just individuals, and that's really kind of that stepping out of the sitting behind 2 turntables or a mixer board and really creating an event with people. So I think the corporate stuff, I think a lot of people will notice corporate's starting to take off again. And it's exciting for us because it gives us another avenue besides just sitting back and doing weddings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Corporate. Making my notes, checking them twice. You should see I've got like all my little Post-its from last night's show. I was writing and tossing to some of just making sure, just checking the guys out there that are on the chat, making sure if there's any questions, make sure you put them on YouTube. We can handle those. Let's look at the car show.
Okay,
Jeremy, have you had a chance to ever do a car show?
Yeah, actually, that was one of the first couple things that we ever did. Actually, the start of, if you want to call it my career, we started out by doing high school events and, my local high school events. But my first outside of school events was a church event. And they just wanted to have music and have a community of people come and dance, basically. But then after that, people started catching on to, hey, we'd love to have music at a car show, or we'd like to have music for a picnic. And car shows have always been fun. You get a variety of music. You also get a variety of people. And, when we look at it, when people think of classic car shows, we always think 50s, 60s, playing some of that old rock and roll music to bring back that, that feel of when hot rods were, the thing, and it wasn't about nitro or anything like that. And these new cars they have. So it's fun looking at some of those old classic cars and then incorporating music to kind of go along with the theme of what, each car show has.
Cool. And I think, Jeremy, that was probably my experience with car shows is early on when we first started out. But now, Michael, you were talking that you hooked up with someone and you're doing, is it a sequence of car shows during the year? Or kind of give me more on that.
What it is I write music, and I'm not doing so much now that I'm doing the video, but I put out CDs, and I don't know how many years ago I put out a bass CD, with the cars with the big systems, and I was doing a benefit show, and there was a company there that's here in Pittsburgh called Team Nuts Audio, and I gave them the CD and said, hey, take a listen to this, see, how it sounds on your professional level, because you guys build these cars, from scratch, and ended up getting tied in with them. So as they do shows that are more than just the audio side, the customization of, remote starters all the way up to, specially built dashboards, They go out and do displays with, they have it's like a $200,000 truck with like 9 picture TV screens in there, and this truck is just unbelievable. And I plug directly into their truck at some of the events, like the World of Wheels show is at the David L. Lawrence Convention Center here in Pittsburgh. Ginormous show, tours the U.S. It's the Pittsburgh stop, and I'm in there in the arena spinning some of the oldies, some of the new. I'm scratching, but part of their booth, right there, crossing paths with people from every dynamic, people that would never come to a club or a bar, that I'm getting to cross paths with. Business cards in their hand, and a week later, it's the funny, he talked about the older cars. That's what the World of Wheels is all custom cars. And then a week later comes the International Auto Show, which is all brand new cars. I mean, everything from Teslas down to Hondas are there, and I'm DJing that too, again with a whole different crowd. And it's how I just got kind of tied in, and I just, some of the shows, it's just an exchange of advertising, and it's one of the things that I try to tell a lot of the young guys. You have to kind of be creative at what you're doing, because I'm going there and, donating my time at that booth, but I'm getting exposure to thousands of people at that time.
Yeah, for sure. That's cool. That's cool. So again, I've done, like Jeremy was mentioning, we've done the old car shows. When you're doing a brand new car show, for new cars, what type of music? I mean, do you stick with a format? Are you all over? Kind of walk us through what.
I just stay with whatever's popular. You can go back to oldies, as long as they were popular, or you can play Taylor Swift. A little bit of everything. I just try to keep it live. Like I said, I'm scratching and mixing and doing stuff live, and somebody will shout out a request, and I'll immediately spin out and drop into the song form as they're walking by, and different things like that.
Now, John, I like how he said you can play the stuff that's cool, or you can drop some Taylor Swift in there.
No, I didn't quite say that.
I think picking up something like that.
You got to play the Taylor Swift for the ladies. Make the ladies happy.
That's like the video that we highlighted Sunday night with the what was it, the Swiftamine? The Taylor Swiftamine. If you didn't get a chance to check that out, you can pop to the discjockeynews.com. You can click on the email, the weekly email thing, and it'll give you that video link. It was funny. I laughed. Very, very good. Very good. Jeremy, you mentioned lighting design, and for a lot of people, if they've watched some of the videos on the Disc Jockey News coming through, or Disc Jockey News TV, they've seen some of the work with your lighting design and some of the things you've done with that. To kind of back me up a little bit, when did you really get into the lighting side of it? When you started the DJ, and then how long did it take before the lighting really became kind of a passion of yours?
I actually went to school. I went to college for computer graphics, multimedia web, and art design. And I need to utilize what I learned there in going into people's events and making that magic happen, basically turning their event, their palette, into a canvas. Mm-hmm. So I've always had a passion for art. I've always had a passion for design and just creating things. I would say the thing that really, and I'm going to give a plug here, one of the things that really turned me on to this idea of creating extravagant with lighting design or production design, I took the entertainment experience with Bill Herman and Jason Jones a couple years ago. And I know that they're, very a large part of the Disc Jockey News, and Jason's been a big help with a lot of the virtual trainings and things like that. I really have to give them a lot of credit because they kind of inspired me to look at everything and say, how can I make this better? How can I improve this? What can I do to make this, take it to the next level?
Sure.
And it allowed me to, again, look at someone's event and make that blank canvas into a masterpiece. The corporate stuff, it's really exciting to see some of these corporate clients that have gone to another corporate client that we've done, or an event that we've done, and say, how can I create my event? And they look to us for the answers, and it's not so much, this is what we want, make it happen. It really has become we want to make something, what is it going to take? And again, it allows us to really work with the client, work with our creativity. And I guess I don't want to sound like I'm bragging, but I've always been a very creative individual, but now I get to use that creativity. And my mom always told me that I was what was it? Not eccentric. I was a very energetic individual, and I loved life. That's what she always said. I loved life. And I still do that with my events. I put a lot of fun, a lot of energy into my events. So I've always had that. but now I get to incorporate that and I get paid for it.
Sure. Very neat. So now on a given weekend with the lighting, do you do lighting then for shows other than your own performance? Like, do you have a team that goes out, or do you yourself go out beyond your shows? How do you handle that?
Well, not everything that we do is specifically, I wouldn't call it a show or I wouldn't call it a performance. Sometimes when, like I talked about fundraisers before, I talked about just corporate events in general. We do, one of our big ones that we work with is it's a wine tasting event to help raise money for a children's hospital here in my area. And again, they basically say, here's our palette, now design. So we get to go in there with my crew or my team, and we get to basically paint the palette or paint the canvas. Mm-hmm. So not every single time we work with the client are we performing, but just in the art design or the lighting design, it basically becomes the project itself. We've worked with a lot of, like I said, corporate, a lot of fundraisers, school events, proms. Proms are popular for us as well, because when people come in with a theme, we get to look at that and say, okay, well, let's create that. We have a Christmas party coming up for an advertising agency, and it's actually kind of fun because, advertising agencies are supposed to have these creative ideas, and they're always cutting edge, and, they're thinking of the next thing.
Yep.
But when it comes to an event, they have absolutely no clue. So it was exciting when I met with them 2 weeks ago, and I said, oh, guys, we can do this, and we can do this, and we can map this, and, create that. And they were just like, wow, that's possible. So it's exciting to see people who are the creative geniuses in our area, really look up to the ideas that we can bring to the table.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. Now, as Jeremy was talking, he mentions a wine event. And Michael, this is kind of, it made me think of your champagne. The champagne bar that you work at. Wasn't it a champagne bar you work at?
Champagne Lounge.
Champagne Lounge, excuse me. Now for a lot of the DJs across the country, we're from kind of mid to smaller towns, so the bars and nightclub are like almost like the VFW types of events. Well, I think Jake is trying to ring in. There we go. Hang on. I think we might be able to do this. We'll get back to the Champagne Lounge if we can get Jake.
I'm just enjoying the music of the ring.
Come on.
Yeah, I was liking that.
Come on.
Just makes me want to do the...
Why isn't he showing up? This might get ugly here. There we go. We're gonna see if we can get him in.
3.
Come on. Jake, are you coming in yet? We were so close.
Technology is awesome. We couldn't have done this at all. We even have the problems that we're having, 10 years ago. I was joking around last night at a thing I was at, and I was talking about, I remember when phones were wired and TVs weren't. And now it's the other way around, and it's just how things have changed in our business and the stuff we used to have to carry and the wattage that it required. And I love the changes that, that we deal with. So I have no complaints about having a problem with technology because we at least have it.
Yeah. Hang on a sec. I think we're going to try the... I think we might be getting closer.
There we go.
No. Okay, see, he's coming through on my cell phone. Come on, add to call. No. We're gonna try to hang. We're gonna hang that one up and see if it will disconnect completely, and then we'll try one more time.
So tell us about that champagne bar.
Yeah, let's go to the Champagne Lounge. So.
Wait, is he coming in? I see it. There we go.
Hey.
Every once in a while.
Hey, I hear a voice.
Better late than, on time, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody had to do it, so.
We need to. Can you turn your camera on?
Is it not on?
No. You're a beautiful white. Well, we are from Minnesota, so that could mean that you are on.
It was on for a little bit.
I can see myself. I just turned it off.
Really?
No. Well, let's see here.
Can you guys see? What are you guys seeing, Jeremy, Michael?
It's a little circle
Now the
trying
circle.
to, yeah.
I was trying to reconnect.
Yep.
I can see myself. If that means anything, but
How do you look?
well, I mean,
It's getting close.
amazing as always.
It's I'm getting the little wheel, the pinwheel
Right.
that's trying to connect.
I don't want to sound cliche, but if you were going to be outside and you held it up in the air, then it would be the wheel in the sky turning.
There we
Wow.
I'm
go.
just throwing that. I know that's weak, but I just got here. I'm late to the party. I got to catch up.
We're to use that one tonight.
Yeah. Hope we don't have to pay royalty rights on that.
Just my luck.
Yeah, exactly.
Just don't sing it.
YouTube's gonna flag that one. Oh,
Yeah, it's all over for me now. Yeah, John, I can't see you, but I can see everybody else,
really?
provided there's 4 of us.
Yeah, there's
all
yep,
of us.
there's a total.
Okay,
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
that's all that matters. I can see Jeremy. So
Yep. Jeremy and Michael and
is that Michael? Is that who it is?
yep.
I
Yes,
see.
hello.
WW, whatever.
That would be the website, www.immj.com.
Sure. That's
Shameless plug.
Go for it.
Well, Jake, try shutting the camera off one more time and bringing it back up. Let's see if it'll make the connection. We do have your audio, and I guess we can hear because we were just actually getting to the point where I was hoping you'd be here for this part of the conversation.
Okay.
We've been talking about events where beyond wedding performing, and we've talked about some lighting, we've talked about some car show, and we just did a very incredible segue from Jeremy talking about a wine tasting to the Champagne Lounge.
Mediterranean Champagne Lounge. is what
Champagne Lounge.
It's really
that,
odd how it's titled.
that Michael Joseph here out of Pittsburgh, what he has been working with. So Michael, now you kind of walk us through that a little bit, because that when you were telling me about that, it was like, wow, a completely different experience from.
It's another type of bar is the best way to explain it, and I don't want to cut away from it because in 2011 or 12, would have been 12, we were voted by Food and Wine magazine as one of the top 5 spots to drink champagne in the entire United States. So basically what it is instead of being a bar where, they would have micro brews or something like that, it's all about champagne. They have champagne on tap, champagne little mixers, champagne, tapas, and just it's all kind of like that.
Yeah.
And it was, you were talking about doing different events. I got that job from doing this odd little Tuesday night specialty thing, and the guy just happened to stop through and said, "Hey, I like you want to come over," And so that's again, I tell young people, don't be afraid to try outside of your norm.
Yeah. For sure. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know if a Champagne Lounge would go over too well in Central Minnesota.
There's a lot of money spent there. I mean, there's people that walk out of there. I mean, I've done private parties. I did one about a month ago where somebody spent over $15,000 just to rent it out and was not completely closed to the public. It was just theirs and had to come in and DJ just for them, and they dropped $15,000 for the night.
Jeez. A little bit different than the Disc Jockey News parties. When we go to the Pepper Mill and we have coupons. So Jake, now we're getting into an area in which you have participated in the world of the DJ biz. When we're getting into that world of the nightclub and bar, kind of take us through some of the things you have done, what type of events you've done with bars over the years, and kind of tell us a little bit about some of those, if you could.
Well, the cool part for me is that when I first started, I worked for a multi-app company that was really big on training and procedure manuals. I mean, literally, our training program was called the University of AE. That's how intense it was. But the one thing I really learned from them was that, and even back then, and I'm talking late 80s, any Tom, Dick, and Harry with some speakers could come in and play music, and so you needed to have a catch. And we went through every phase of bar game and bar promotion that you can imagine. And we started very, very simple. And the reason I want to bring that up is because it's amazing how many times things revert back to themselves. History repeats itself.
Yeah.
Hey, John's back. Your picture just showed up, John. Sorry. The first bar promotion that we ever did, and that's how we always approached it, is that this is going to be a promotion, not just a DJ playing music, was the night before Thanksgiving turkey toss, where we would go in and I would sell it to the bar owner as, first of all, the bar owner can't believe a DJ standing in his bar talking about how I can make your life better and let's work together. They're always blown away by that aspect. They just expect the guy says, I got some speakers and I can play. But what we did is we literally brought in a porcelain toilet and a frozen turkey, and we put a line on the dance floor, and we charged people $1 to throw the frozen turkey at the toilet. And if it went in the toilet, their name went in a drawing for some ridiculous, $25 Target gift card or something. I don't remember what it was at this point. And I think the bar owner made like $300 in turkey tosses that night, to the point where eventually the porcelain toilet broke because it got hit with the frozen turkey enough times it shattered. We took pieces of the broken toilet and used them to weight down a 5-gallon bucket so the bucket wouldn't. And that was the first time ever that I did like a first full-blown bar promotion, and that was probably 1986, 87 back then. But that's the beauty of it is finding a way that you can offer something other than just music and some cheesy lights. And the turkey toss was one because it's already a big night for college kids to be out. So this gave them a reason to come to your bar rather than go hear the DJ or the band next door. I went through a phase also where props was a big thing in the bars. The sumo suits, we would bring in 2 sumo suits and we would do sumo wrestling in the bar. Because, the hardest part about most small town bar gigs is getting people on the dance floor. They don't drink until they get their white guy dance juice on, and then they come out on the dance floor and then they want to dance. So if you can give them something to do before that, you do a promotion for an hour and a half or 2 hours, and then when that's over, they're already in a fun mood. They're a little lubed up. They're ready to dance. And you don't have to waste your time with the 2 hours of classic rock and Bob Seger and all the stuff that you're using to fill time until you can play dance music. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that was kind of so. I mean, I know those are super specific and yet very broad, but the biggest thing is that I always found is to have an idea and have a promotion. Go in the door with an idea and say, let's do this. And if you can draw it out, even better. Nowadays, what you see is let's do a karaoke contest, which is, just horrible. But, there's guys out there doing it. We used to do, when I was in Sioux Falls, we would do Bar Olympics, where we would come in and we would have, like a 6-week event. That culminated in like the finals and and the night of the finals, the bigger and the more outlandish the prop and the production value, the better it was, with the music, and then we'd get hula hoops and paint them and zip strip them together to look like the Olympic rings, and we'd hang them up in the bar, and we'd have somebody come in with like a torch. And if you're in a really small town, instead of having a torch, they run in with like one of those propane things you use in your garage that you can buy at Menards. Instead of a torch, come in with that. The cheesier the better, and people laugh and they think it's funny, and it's all just encouraging to buy drinks because it's like I tell people, bar owners and singers alike, whenever I do karaoke, is that I don't care if you sing or not, because no bar owners ever come up to me at the end of the night and said, "Hey, a lot of great singers tonight, huh?" They don't care. They don't care why they're in the bar as long as they're there and they're drinking. That's all they care about. So, the lady who gives you a hard time at a karaoke event who's drinking Pepsi, you just tell her to leave. Just get away from me. I don't have time for you. So, but those types of things, and the bigger and the more outlandish, the better. Have an idea. I know Jason Jones has talked about this a lot too. Have an idea. Find a way to get the bar owner to have some skin in the game, and find a way to prolong it instead of a one-night stand. If you can make it a 4 or 5 or 6 week event where people have to come back and they want to come back, that gets really cool. So, and that's just how to make more out of a standard bar of what you already have.
Jake, you mentioned something here. I want to take this to all the guys. You mentioned the bar owner having the some bar owners have the second want a full dance floor because that's a good DJ, and yet as you were alluding to, is their real goal should be to sell drinks. Mm-hmm. Jeremy, when you're doing corporate events, have you found that sometimes you're getting expectations from the people who are hiring you to do those events, when it comes to the engaging of the guests and having them participate, that really don't fit what the reality of the situation is? Have you ever had that situation?
I think when a corporate puts a party together, whether it be a Christmas party or whether it be just a social, I think you see a lot of them, not so much about are they all on the dance floor, it's are they sticking around, are they having fun, are they dancing in their seats, are they socializing, because that's the purpose of a corporate party. It's like he had said, you want to make sure that people stick around. It's not so much about packing the dance floor. It's about, are they really caring about what's going on? Are they enjoying the environment? And if we're not performing, if people are going around a corporate event that we've put together and they're taking pictures left and right, like, wow, that's really cool, or that's really cool, then we've done our job. So it's not about, again, it's not about making sure that they're dancing. It's are they attracted to what we created?
Mm-hmm.
I would say, actually, to take that to another crazier step, is that the one thing I learned very early on, and I've always practiced this in a bar, is that unlike at a wedding where you find a niche and you kind of you carry that theme and you just build on it and it kind of flows and grows and it has a mind of its own. In a bar, when I've got a full dance floor for 3 or 4 or 5 songs in a full set in a style, I will completely switch gears with the hope that I'll turn the dance floor over. Mm-hmm. I want the people who are on the dance floor to go get a drink, and the people who are on the dance floor to come out to the dance floor. Again, that's very geography specific, because small town Midwest, you have to be everything as a DJ and as a bar. When you go to a town that has 4 bars or 2 or 3 bars, you can't identify yourself as the rock bar or the country bar or the dance. You have to be rock, dance, country, club. You got to be a little bit of everything to everybody. So you have to learn how to turn that dance floor over so that the people who are dancing will stop dancing long enough to go buy another drink. And that's, I think a lot of it too is that finding ways to sell those drinks. And it sounds almost small townish, but I openly encourage drinking in all of my events. I make even wisecracks about how, if this looks bad to you, don't worry, just keep drinking, it'll get better. And you're trying to create that environment. And sometimes the easiest way to do that is just blatantly say, hey, keep drinking. I'll say I do a weekly karaoke show right now that I do, quite honestly, just so I can say things on the microphone that I can't normally say, because it's a small bar here in Mankato. And people know it. It's kind of got a nickname as insult karaoke, where if you suck, I'll tell you on the mic, dude, that was horrible. Don't do that to us again. And I openly make fun of people. And I will say to people early in the night if it's slow, I'll say, listen, you guys, it's kind of quiet, so I need you all to drink twice as much as what you normally would to make up for the difference. Mm-hmm. And they'll go, don't do it.
Michael, now, what Jake was describing, how we turn the floor over and we do things, that's kind of my experience with doing bars in this part of the country. Now, do you experience a similar thing when you're doing your? Because I know you do quite a few nightclubs in that Pittsburgh area. How would that differ than what Jake has been describing?
It's just, I have to say it's place to place, because I've worked at places that there's so many people there is no dance floor turnover. You're get them going crazy for 4 hours nonstop because it's packed. There's a line out the door. Nobody else is coming in until somebody leaves. But another friend of mine, it's a good example of what he's talking about, turnover dance floor, used to DJ at a very urban place, very hip-hop place. And the owner would send him a text twice a night, so we're talking like very hip-hop music, send him a text that says, play 2 techno songs. And he would have to play 2 techno songs because the manager wanted the people to leave the dance floor and go buy a drink. So it's place to place.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Play a techno song to clear my dance floor.
it's what happened. People would leave the dance floor, go buy a drink, and then 2 songs later they'd be right back in it, and everybody would be back on the dance floor. So that was his way of turning it over. So it's kind of strange, but different bars are different. Every place I work at, certain ones they care about that. Other places, as long as people stay, their goal is to make people stay and not leave. So it varies.
Mm-hmm. Jimmy, we've never had this conversation. Have you? Did you in your early days was doing bars and such, nightclubs? Is that something you did?
I didn't do too much with nightclubs and bars. The couple things that we did do, we had a couple bars that reached out to us just because they had seen us as we interact with wedding guests or corporate clients and things like that. They reached out to us and said, hey, you know what? We have a restaurant. We just want to keep people kind of engaged in the evening. Can you, do activities or trivia or something like that? So we started out doing some trivia with one of them, and then they said, let's try and do another night and do something else. So we kind of came up with some different ideas. We did a Wii night where we brought in Wii for a kids night. The kids would come in, they would have some activities and things like that going on. And then we took the trivia to another level because other places started doing trivia as well. So what we did is we did what we called it Tringo, which was trivia bingo. Mm-hmm. And what we did was everybody in the room, everybody at the restaurant could get a bingo card. and we would go around and we would ask questions to every single person. And if they got the question right, then they could pick whatever number on their card that they wanted to mark. So what they didn't know was if they picked a number, it could also make another person win. So it just kind of created some competition. It was trivia, it was bingo, and it lasted. One bingo card would last you half hour, and people would typically stick around just because it was something different. It was something fun, and you had groups come in, and they would stick around all night until we were until we were done 3 hours later, 2.5 hours later. And again, like they had said, their goal is to sell food, is to sell drinks. It's not how many people interact, it's how many people actually stick around to maybe just listen to the trivia or actually be involved in the activity.
Mm-hmm.
We did a great bar thing, and this I can't even take full credit for because I just piggytailed on it. But one of the radio stations I worked for, we started an annual event called we call it the Heartbreakers Ball. We would do it typically Valentine's Day or Valentine's Day weekend. And we would the whole idea was we wanted to attract the single people, and we took it from we're going to do this big event and we would give away prizes, and then I incorporated every cheesy DJ game I could think of, like from the nuts and the bolts. The guys all got a bolt, the girls all got a nut, and you had to go find somebody that would screw together, and then you come up and show that hey, our nut and our bolt mix, they match, so then you're entered to win a prize. And we did the playing cards in half when we did all of this. And it wasn't so much about the cheesy mixer games as it was about calling it the Heartbreakers Ball and really taking this anti-Valentine's Day approach to it of, we're going to go crazy. This is for the people who aren't in love, don't want to be in love. We just want to go get drank and try to, have some drinks and try to hook up. Well, we're going to help you with that, and it was, but again, it's looking for those little ways that, you can find almost exploit the system, I guess, is a better way to say it, And
then there you are at the end of the night, Jake's up there. Card if you do get married.
Exactly, yeah. If you're getting married, works out pretty well.
Funny. There was somewhere I wanted to go. I'm getting an echo. Jake, do you have headphones on?
No. Do you want me to put them on?
Yeah, get some headphones. That might be it. I'm picking up an echo the more I talk. Maybe that means I shouldn't be talking as much. We had someone that was...
Maybe it's just you, man. Maybe you're just talking too much.
Maybe it is. Hey, actually, no. I wanted to. Someone asked this the other day. Your very first event. Your first event you were actually paid. What was it? You can give us a little detail of it, and then what did you get paid for the night?
I just celebrated mine, actually. It was in November. This is really going to show you how old I am. That was neat.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, there's a fire. It's okay.
It's okay. No problem. It was November of 1987. It was my first paid gig. It was a Hawaiian luau at the local YMCA. And I can't remember how much I got paid, but my friend Bill and I put all our equipment together to try to, have all the turntables and lighting and everything we needed to do this and get a paycheck. So, 1987.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it hurts, doesn't it?
We're not as young as we used to be. Jeremy.
Yeah, so I kind of mentioned it before. Here's how I kind of got my starting. I used to do a lot of work for farmers and detasseling walking beans, all this stuff. And I basically gathered all my money and I just bought a bunch of DJ equipment. Didn't really know what I was going to do. And this is at the age of 15. So I basically started my business at age of 15. And I did my school events. I don't think I really ever got paid for those. But my first actual event that I got paid for was a church event in my local community. And truthfully, if it wasn't for that event, I probably wouldn't be in the situation I am right now, because there was another DJ in my town of 900 people, or actually it was probably like 500 people back then. She came up to me after the dance and she said, "You know what? I don't want any competition. Would you be interested in working underneath me? If I'm booked, I can send them your way."
Yep.
I said, "Absolutely. That'd be great." So age of 15, I'm doing pretty good. This is exciting. I'm charging $225 for a wedding. That's a lot of money for a 15-year-old. So my first paycheck was $100 from this church event that I did. and I had beautiful Gemini speakers. I had a homemade lighting truss that I made out of galvanized pipes. It was pretty awesome. It's pretty exciting.
Nice. Jake, take us back.
First show I ever did was with a friend, and he had long story longer, he had a band called the Blues Brothers Band, and they were a full-blown Blues Brothers copy band, and they would go out and do the whole thing. And I always wanted to be a part of that band, even though I was just a kid. I was in junior high school. And then the band broke up, and I kept telling him, we can put the band back together, you know. You'll be Jake, you know, I'll be Aykroyd. We can do this thing. I've seen the movie 100 times. We can pull it off. And he kept saying, no, you know, he's like 40, and I'm like, 14. And he's like, no. Anyway, he finally started his own DJ business, and I would kind of tag along with him. And then he started working for Music in Motion before they became anything at all in the Midwest. And I went to a wedding with him, and I remember two things from that night. One, I didn't get paid. This led to my first paid gig, but the bride's mother, it was her birthday, and I went out on the dance floor and I sat her on my knee and I sang happy birthday to her. I like crooned to her like, you know, like I was Frank or something.
And how old were you?
I was probably 14 at this point. This is 1986.
Oh, that's just kind of weird and creepy, man.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. And I sang happy birthday to her, and then what I did when I was done, I put her in a chair and I said, well, you know, really, Mom today's only 16. And, you know, sweet 16, never been kissed. I think we should all give her a kiss. And we started a line of everybody in the building came by and kissed her on the cheek. And I became like this iconic rock star after that. Topped only by the fact that midway through the night then, our microphone broke. And we were in the basement, the Cotter High School basement in Winona, Minnesota. And I came up with this idea. I went over on the wall and I took a poster off. We rolled it into a cone. And that was how we announced everything for the rest of the night. That's how ghetto it was. And the next day, the corporate office called and offered me a job, and I had to explain to them I couldn't drive. You know, I'm like, I don't have a license. I can't even drive. And they said, well, so anyway, long story longer, I did my first paid gig on my own was a Arcadia, Wisconsin Catholic school teachers company Christmas party. And I don't remember what I charged, and it was probably like $75 or something. And I pieced together every piece of equipment I could find. And I had all this hodgepodge of music. And I remember one of the ladies came up to me and she said, now you have some good music, right? Because last year they thought because we were Catholic school teachers, we didn't like cool new music. And I had nothing cool. I had nothing new. And it was brutal. And yeah, a long time ago.
Back when we would build our music collections with those subscription services to the Columbia House or what was the other one?
Oh yeah, Columbia House.
Oh yeah, the BMG.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think I'm still paying my bill on that.
But you didn't use a fake name like the rest of us. Get the 60 free cassettes and then cancel.
Yeah, at one time I had one for myself, and I had one for my dog, and one for my cat, and then I had a couple of other miscellaneous names. So it was trying to balance all of that. So the fun of it. So my first paid gig. A friend and I kind of started this back in the early days, and that really wasn't much of a paid gig. The first one would have been, I think, about 1990, because I was working with the friends and such. But 1990, we did a bar down the road here, 5 miles away, and it was our first bar experience because I hadn't gone out to bars too terribly much at that point in time in my life. So we were in there DJing, had a great time, and we did everything, lights and sound. We had 12 volt, a 12 volt transformer running beacons that I picked up from J.C. Whitney, and that was our light show being put with little momentary light switches. So one person was doing lights all night, one person was pulling CDs and queuing up tapes, and then of course the other person was playing music.
What are tapes?
Yeah, exactly.
So, hit pause, turn counterclockwise a quarter of a turn, and as soon as you press play and let go of that pause, it's on.
It's on. Yep, and that was exactly it. Oh, that was so much fun. So that night, we did the whole thing and played it, and oh boy, we thought we had people bouncing out the walls, and of course CD players were skipping because they were jumping on the floor, and we were just completely shot. And we got our $50. She came up and she gave us our check for $50. That's what we had asked for for that show, being our first time. And she felt so bad. She's like, "How about if I make you a couple of pizzas?" So this is the story that the bar owner, because she's since moved on to a different. But that story, because of us doing what we've done and creating what we've done in the DJ industry, she gets a kick out of telling people when they come through and they're like, oh yeah, we know who John Young is. And she's like, well, let me tell you about the very first show.
That's awesome.
Oh, good stuff. Good stuff.
I learned to beat mix Billie Jean and Ice Ice Baby together on cassette decks, man. That was
That's not easy to beat match on cassette.
oh, you can do it though. It was awesome.
It's
man.
tough, yeah.
Yeah. I also learned, this is the craziest one ever, is because when you run cassette decks, when I worked for Music in Motion, which was the first multi-op where I worked for, they had everything was all cassettes, custom libraries, which is nice because they were all the same. But if you didn't have headphones, you're screwed. And I learned that you can take your spare microphone, plug it into your headphone jack, and listen to the microphone. It's a speaker. The microphone's just a smaller speaker, and if you run it out of your headphone jack, it's just running reverse. So you can actually hear through the microphone. But you look like an idiot standing up there with a microphone up to your ear.
Back do it in reverse. If your microphone broke, you pop the headphones in and talked into the headphones.
Yeah. It's all good, man. It's just crazy stuff, yeah.
And next week's show is going to be about having the appropriate backup gear.
Yeah.
I think that's why I'm so adamant on having backup gear when I'm out. Even if it's nothing more than having 80s mixes, 90s mixes, and everything in the phone to emergency if I have to reboot. So maybe that's why. Those years of Sears and Roebuck turntables and Radio Shack mixers and
Band-Aid. I used a Band-Aid once to fix a broken solder joint on the inside of a speaker connection, and I remember thinking, okay, here we go. We gotta go.
It's gonna work, but it did.
Wrapped it up and used it like tape and kept going. And it's like, all right, well, that's half the fun sometimes. Nowadays, I can't take that. I'm like,
yeah, that wouldn't be cool. Well, guys, we've got about 10 minutes left, and in this last little session, what I'd like to do is just if people are out there and they're wanting to explore different areas to find business. If someone come up to you and say, "Geez, I'm a wedding DJ, but I'd like to maybe find some different avenues. How do I knock on doors, or where can I go to find some different types of events to fill in?" What would you have for advice of where they could go look, or how they would find that? And let's start, Michael. I'll start with you, and I'm going to go Michael, Jeremy, and Jake, and we'll just kind of bounce around and talk about some of the ideas. So, Michael, somebody comes up to you and says, "Where can I find? Where would it be a good spot to look for additional work?" Where would you send me?
I tell them not to start in the places I DJ at now. No, I encourage people to really be creative. Like I said, some of the gigs that I talked about at the beginning of the show, the car shows, the bike events, there's times I've gotten hired just to be the MC at a place. Don't be afraid to if you're a good person on the mic, don't be afraid to take jobs where that's your only thing for the night is to talk on the microphone, because it may turn around into a gig where you next time you get paid for sound and lighting and everything. There's been DJ battles I've been in that I didn't place in the final, the final, and they come back to me and go, "Hey, do you want to MC the final?" And I'm like, okay. So it's just be creative. Don't be afraid to try anything once, because if you don't like it, then at least Because I always say sometimes to find out what you want, you have to find out all the things you don't want. So to give it a try. Like I said, I've DJ'd some places, for youth events out in the middle of a field, plugged into, like they were supposed to supply the sound system, and they came there with a guitar amp, and I had to plug into a guitar amp, and it really that was their thing. So, but at least that okay, this isn't what I'm going to do next time, or it teaches you how to write a contract to put things in there that covering must be provided, or I must be within so many distance of a plug. So everything is a learning experience. Even if you feel you failed, you're going to learn something from it. So I think that's one of the best things. Don't be afraid of failure. Give it all you got. Go out there and try. At least because there are gigs that I now know that I'll never take. I know places that I don't want to DJ at, and other places it's like, yeah, I'll do that for partial pay. You can get me to do an EDM event for a very low price because I just love EDM music. But if you want me to play country, you would have to pretty much stab me in the heart to get me to play country. So
wait a second. I think that's one. Isn't it a song? Is it one of the country songs?
It probably is. Stab me in the heart and I'll play you a song.
Yep. Stab me in the heart and give me a beer and Mama put the car on blocks.
Wow. We transitioned from a champagne lounge to
country.
Beer in a bar. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, is the Champagne Lounge, it serves Miller High Life because that is the champagne of beers, right?
I'm be honest with you. I think their lowest price beer in there, and I don't know what it is like $10 a bottle. I mean, it's really high end stuff.
Oh,
So
nice.
I couldn't tell you what it is.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
that's
Crazy.
awesome.
Jeremy, so someone comes up and basically looking for some ideas for finding, making contacts and such for additional types of events. Where would you recommend they go?
I say, first of all, I think they need to look at what they want to focus on. If they want to stick with just the entertainment aspects, then I think Mike is right. I mean, start looking at bar, looking at places where you can become better at your craft of spinning. But if you want to take things in more of a production level, then lighting is a great option. It's been very beneficial for us. Doing lighting has actually got our foot in the door for a lot of corporate clients and really high end weddings, and just some great theme events. The nice thing with lighting is you don't always have to go and set it up. You can actually rent it. If people say I want to rent some uplighting, well, heck, if I can send out uplights for $45 a piece and I don't have to do anything with them except just have them pre-programmed and they can place them. Again, there's some great options there on getting some extra revenue. It allows me to do a gig or do a show or a wedding, and it allows me to make more money on the sides. I'm a multi-op, so I do have the advantage of sending out my crew or sending out my team and still have the weekend off. So it gives me, again, as a multi-op, it's a great option. Because it does build revenue. Even though I'm technically not working, I still am working. Mm-hmm. But like I said, I think Mike is right. If you start looking at, I really want to be good at spinning, then I would look at doing a bar gig for maybe, and again, I don't do bar gigs, so I can't quote a price, but start out at 125, 200, 300, whatever it is. And again, that experience is going to make you better at what you do. And then your name's going to get out there a little bit more as well.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Very good. Jake.
You're talking about like alternative revenue?
Alternative revenue. Being able to find some things, and of course, the guys have gone off on kind of their passion area and developing your skills. I
would say, like cold hard facts, things you can take home tonight or jot down in your notebook if you're watching and you're looking to take something away from this, and you want to expand beyond your horizons or beyond what everybody else is doing. Is number one, I would look at non-traditional outlets of places where you can provide entertainment. If there's a brewery in your town, which by the way, in the world of craft breweries right now, everybody has a brewery. There's one in Mankato that just popped up. I just talked to him yesterday about providing entertainment and sound. They're doing 3 to 4 private parties a week in his beer tasting venue. Mm-hmm. And they're always hiring bands and DJs and karaoke guys to come in there and provide entertainment. So go find a brewery and talk to the brewery. Go to your local shopping mall and talk to the mall, because malls are always looking for sound support for stuff in their food court. They're always looking for sound support. A lot of the retail places will want music for anything from 2 years ago, I did a fashion show for these people because I know a girl who was the assistant manager in a store, and they literally paid me to play 8 songs and let their person talk on a microphone. And so there's little things like that where you can go in and nobody else is doing that. And it doesn't require a lot of effort on your part. And it doesn't, especially guys who do mostly weddings, you're looking for something that you can do to stay busy and to stay financially active, but not bog yourself down with more wedding type preparation and shows along those lines. So those are all fantastic avenues. The car show stuff, I mean, we've all, been down those roads, but it's amazing how many other little things there are out there. The other thing that sometimes can work if you're in the right sized market. Now, if you're in Pittsburgh, for example, this probably isn't going to work for you, but if you're in a town the size of a Mankato, if you've got a 30, 40, 50,000 person market, go talk to some of the radio stations, because most of those radio stations are probably owned by a conglomerate. And a lot of times they don't have a lot of money to throw around, or they don't want to. But if you can convince them, it takes all the pressure and the ease off of them. And they say, well, we're doing this big event here. They might need somebody who can come in, set up some speakers, play music, run the board, control the mics, do that sort of thing, be their on-site engineer and be their on-site music and entertainment, because most radio guys are terrible entertainers. They don't want to be out in front of the crowd. If you could convince them for a few $100 or Sometimes even, hey, you give me $100 and let me hang my banners and be mentioned in some of the promos. I'll be at your event from 10 to 11:30 on a Saturday afternoon where there's going to be 3,000 people. Why not? It's not a big revenue maker at the time, but it's a great promotional event. And that's sometimes the biggest part of this is looking beyond that paycheck to future paychecks of what am I doing today? How's what I'm doing right now going to benefit me down the road? And which is the only reason that as a wedding guy, the only reason I've ever been in a bar and doing bar gigs, because I hate doing bar gigs. They're terrible. But single people who get married and have wedding dances are in the bars. And if you want to get to know them and get them to know you, you have to go to their backyard sometimes, and that's the bars.
Yeah.
John, one thing I want to touch base on, Jake kind of mentioned it earlier, talked about the Valentine's event. He talked about the Thanksgiving thing. Take advantage of the opportunities when it comes to your seasons. Christmas, Thanksgiving, St. Patrick's Day. If a typical bar doesn't have a St. Patrick's Day party and they're not an Irish bar, it doesn't mean they can't have an Irish party. And take advantage of those holidays and build some revenue around those so you can buy everybody Christmas gifts.
And along that same lines, and we talked kind of the same thing, don't be afraid to create a party. Don't be afraid to create something that doesn't already exist. There's a bowling alley, bar, restaurant place that in a small town up the road from me that I've played at for 12 years. They literally do a party on the 1st of April every year. They call it the Pollock Holiday. And it's just stupid. They print can coolers and the printing's upside down, and they have a polka band that plays at like noon for an hour and a half. And they just created it. And it's the gig that I've played at every year. And you know what? And people just get drunk all day, and it's like a St. Patrick's Day. They call it the Pollock Holiday. But that's the kind of stuff where even if it doesn't exist, you can go into the bar owner and say, hey, you like All-Star Wrestling, let's create this. And use your creativity. That's why we do what we do, is because hopefully we're more creative than average people. So people hire us to be the creative, entertaining one. Use that.
Okay, guys, we are just about out of time. I've got a couple of quick things. Jeremy, one quick question. Lights getting lost and damaged and stolen. Does that happen when you're doing the rental of your lights or you're doing the uplighting and such?
One of the things I'd recommend is make sure that you have a credit card on file for that individual. So if anything does come damaged, and basically in our contract it says, there is a damage fee if for some reason something would happen. Basically, it covers our equipment. That's the biggest thing. Just make sure it's in your contract. If you just send out lighting and say, have fun, good luck, bring it back, A, you don't know if it's ever going to come back. But B, if you have their credit card on file, you have a lot of power with that.
Yeah, for sure. Gentlemen, it is 9 o'clock. It is time to wrap it up. Thank you guys very much for being on with me tonight.
Thank you.
We covered a lot of ground here.
Thanks for having us.
A lot of good stuff. For those of you watching, thank you for watching. Now, if you can head back to DJNVirtualExpo.com. If you go in there and you go right now, you'll see the video player. The video player is up and tonight's show is on. If you go there and you're still seeing this video, well, what you need to do is you need to do a hard refresh. So you go click on refresh, but before you click on the refresh, hold the shift key down. And that's what you will hear for tonight's show. One of them's watching tonight's show that started and we haven't ended. So again, thank you very much. Go watch tonight's show. We've got some really good stuff. Actually, you're going to get a second dose of Jeremy Brech tonight. He's going to be talking. Jeremy, what are you talking about tonight?
We're doing some video mapping on cake. The big trend, with Disney and their video mapping on a cake. Yeah. We actually walk through the process on how to create that.
Oh, we've got some. Jeremy, you might have to pop in and answer some of the questions. Guys, if you do have questions, and we're not going to get to them because we have to wrap this up, put them in the comments below the YouTube video here. There's a delay, so I'm now seeing them dance to the... I'm catching it out of the corner of my eye. There's Jake. Anyway, put the questions in the description below because this chat's going to get erased here, unfortunately. Maybe Jeremy can pop in and even answer some questions before it gets shut down, but put them down below, and then Jeremy can come in and answer some of the questions because I see there's a couple of those, Jeremy asking about lighting and such, so see if you can do. Michael, Jeremy, Jake, thank you very much. Thank you for watching. Enjoy tonight's show.
Thanks, John.
And now we can count down because the streaming is going to stop now.